Dr. Oz has a theory of one way we could start to resume normal operations in America, but it does have a bit of a cost, but it's a cost he's willing to bear.
Well, first, we need our mojo back. Let's start with things that are really critical to the nation where we think we might be able to open without getting into a lot of trouble. I tell you, schools are a very appetizing opportunity. I just saw a nice piece in the Lancet arguing that the opening of schools may only cost us 2 to 3% in terms of total mortality. And, that's any life is a life lost. But to get every child back into a school where they're safely being educated, being fed, and making the most out of their lives with a theoretical risk in the backside, it might be a trade-off some folks would consider. We need to get industry back, supply lines. I mean, things that we can do without putting the nation at risk.
That is
madness. That is an incredible statement. He referred to opening up schools in the middle of a pandemic extremely appetizing.
An appetizing option.
And made it seem like losing 2 to 3% of the children in this country is not that big of a deal.
Yeah, or them getting the virus and then bringing it home and transmitting it to the rest of their family. Like 2 to 3%. It was a very nice piece he read in the Lancet. Very nice. No, I've read nice poems. I haven't read a nice evaluation of there's since he put that out. There have been some speculation about exactly what he's referring to there. Best case scenario, the most charitable interpretation of what he's talking about there is thousands and thousands of deaths, and it's kind of appetizing. I get appetized. I start to salivate when I think about those mass graves being dug. And Dr. Oz, the reason he's saying this is because this sort of rhetoric has gotten him on Fox News on a regular basis recently. And so this is the formula in modern media. If you want to make it in right-wing media, you have to be a monster, an enthusiastic monster, and you will be rewarded mightily. His next book, Trump will tweet about it, and he'll make a bunch of money. And why? Because he said to benefit, the S&P, we should let some kids die.
Man, I don't even know what to say.
He's a doctor, Anna.
Yeah,
He's a
I know.
Doctor. Yeah, and with a sterling reputation too, by the way.
It's just so irresponsible, and
yeah.
What are we doing? I mean, and by the way, we have a pretty significant international audience, and I appreciate and I'm happy that people live in better countries than we do. But it is hard to see the emails and the messages from people who have a robust social safety net, who have actual leadership. And
yeah,
I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to deal with this every day.
Yeah. And to see people like that considered serious. He can get on any show he wants, because he's a serious person. He's got doctor before his name. And again, he is going to be one of those people, there was another senator, I think it was Kennedy, that'll say, you know what, if we have to make sacrifices, and they are always, always, always talking about sacrifices that they don't have to make. They say we. They don't mean we. They mean you. He's not going to be bagging groceries at Pavilion. He's not going to be exposed. He's not going to be working the subways in New York City. He's going to be remote Skyping in to Sean Hannity's show. And all those Fox hosts, by the way, who are now universally supporting these protests, you'll notice that they're shooting from home. They could go into the media figures. We could go in. We could go to the TYT studio right now. It's an essential thing. You could do it in New York. They're choosing not to. Okay, so they're very supportive of forcing people to go back to work, but they're choosing not to. Why? Because they know how dangerous it is. They just won't extend the concern they have for their own lives to everyone else.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And just keep in mind that states like Texas have basically banned abortions in the middle of this pandemic. So they can go ahead and pretend like they're these pro-life warriors. But at the same time, you hear the type of commentary that we just heard from, I was about to call him Dr. Phil.
Dr. Oz.
Dr. Oz, yeah.
They both have issues.
The kind of commentary we hear from Dr. Oz. I mean, just how incredibly flippant they are about children getting sick, possibly passing this virus on to their parents and their families. And it's amazing. They've never actually cared about unborn fetuses. They've never actually cared about that. It's always been a political move to earn brownie points. And it's always been, meant to punish women who happen to get pregnant when they don't want to get pregnant.
Yeah.
That's all it's always been. Because look, this pandemic has really revealed so much about the country we live in, how many of these politicians and pundits are really nothing more than frauds. We now know without a shadow of a doubt what these motivations really are. And the real question is, what are we going to do about it? Because I'm tired of it. I really am. And we have a broken system and a broken corporate media that really needs to change.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.